What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is Sisters, Season 1, Episode 15. So we pick up where we left off with Zach walking in on Karen, kissing up on the preacher man. And, of course, Zach is upset. He's cussing, talking about, calling the man out his name, telling him, get the hell out. Why, Karen, why are you kissing up on this man? Blah, blah, blah. And, Zach was very belligerent. And basically, then he called the man a bitch. And I knew then, I said, oh, it's about to go down now. And that's what happened. And at one point, Zach was getting the best of the preacher man. And then the preacher man got the best of Zach. And they tearing up her apartment in the process. And she, Zach accidentally hits her in the nose while he punching. And she eventually gets them, she eventually breaks them up. And she's like, Zach, she throws in Zach's face. Well, she really didn't know. Let me rewind. Because she didn't throw it in Zach's face, but he said, "Someone get out my house." And she was like, "No, this is my house." Oh, go. Now we're going to go with the disrespect. Go ahead and disrespect me. And I'm like, but you disrespecting her. Like, I get it that you walked in there and they were kissing. But do you not have any compassion for the fact that this man just lost his wife? Like, you don't. Oh, that's what it was. It wasn't he didn't call him out his name. He said something about, that's the reason why your wife killed herself now. Oh, see, and that was it. Like, I'd have bust you in your mouth too, Zach. So then she breaks them up and she asked, preacher man to leave. And he was like, do you really want me to leave? And she was like, yeah, I want you to leave. And as soon as he left, then her and Zach got into it. And Zach is yelling at her. And she had to remind him, like, wait a minute. You really coming at me real sideways. And you got a whole baby mama. Now, this is where it got a little bit crazy for me. Because he was like, was that then or was that when he was talking to Danny? No, it was then. He made mention of the fact of we weren't together when that happened. But I thought that the reason why they broke up was because she found out he was cheating on her with this particular woman. Now he's saying, well, we weren't even together. The pregnancy happened while we weren't together. I don't know. Neither here nor there. It don't matter. You got a whole baby on the way. Because even if that happened, which I think they plan, y'all gonna let me know in them comments if I'm tripping, because y'all let me know that I wasn't crazy about how Andy met Gary. So y'all gonna get me together in the comments if I'm wrong about this. But I really thought that's how they broke up to begin with. The first episode, she was at the clinic to see if she had an STD because he was cheating on her. So how you gonna sit here and say you were only with her one time and it was when you and Karen had broken up? Don't make sense. But whatever. Doesn't matter. You still got a baby on the way. So I'm gonna need you to not come in here acting like you coming in here with clean hands and I'm so wrong. Like, let's not forget that I saw a woman blow her head out in my establishment, in my face, and this is the husband. We were comforting each other. We was wrong for kissing, okay? But I'm gonna need you to calm your ass down like you don't have your own stuff going on with a whole baby mama over to the job. Whatever. So she throws his paychecks at him and tells him, look, you're going to need this money more than I am because you have a whole baby to take care of and you need to go find you someplace to live because you got to go. And he going to tell her, well, if I leave, I ain't coming back. She was like, oh, okay. Bye. So, of course, he tries to, I ain't gonna say he tries to talk her out of it, but he, I guess he tries to calm down and, and he get like he about to cry again. And she was like, nah, I'm gonna need you to go. Like you acted a whole ass and I'm gonna need you to get up out my house. And on his way out the door, honey, he done tipped over the TV talking about something. Oh yeah, I paid for this. And he gonna knock the TV down, which honestly, we ain't seen that TV on since the show started. So, okay. And of course, we know where he ended up going. We know where he went. He ran right on over to Danny's house. And Danny was getting it in with Preston, like literally in mid-stroke. He come rolling up in there. Now, I could have sworn Danny made him give her her key back. But I guess he still got his key. And, excuse me. And so Preston was like, look, I done lost my stroke. Dude is still in there. Because mind you, he walked in on them having sex, and he was so disgusted by it, but he didn't leave. He stayed. And remember, Danny has an efficiency, so there is no door. Child. So, Preston was like, look, I'm going to just go ahead and go because I think your friend needs you. I'm going to go on and go. I'm going to let you handle this. But I want to see you again. And, of course, Danny is disgusted because she was like, look, we were really in the middle. I was enjoying myself. I was enjoying your company. Like, I ain't even finished getting my rocks off, for real. And, y'all, I get it that Danny and Zach have a friendship. Like, they go back and forth, but they really do have a friendship. But there is something just so uncomfortable about this whole situation for me. If I'm Karen, the fact that Preston left, cool, whatever. But Danny stayed there in the bed, under the covers, naked, and had a whole conversation with him naked. That just made me feel some kind of way, y'all. I don't know. If I were Karen, I would have a problem with that. I mean, I know Karen doesn't know that that's what's going on, but I'm just saying. I'd have a problem with it. And he tells her what happened over to the apartment. And of course he does, of course he makes himself seem like he ain't do nothing wrong. Everything was everything, and that it was all on Karen, and she was kissing this dude. And Danny was like, well, how was she kissing him? What you mean, how was she kissing him? She was like, was she kissing him, with her arms crossed? Was she kissing him? Was it a long tongue kiss? He was like, well, I don't know. I mean, when I walked in, they stopped kissing. She was like, exactly. Like, she tried to get him to understand, look, it probably wasn't that deep. It wasn't that kind of kiss. They were probably just comforting each other because of everything that's going on. And, he lost his whole wife, and she saw it. It's like Zach is not, he's just being real selfish about the situation. And again, I understand that you're not happy about walking in on them kissing, but you have a whole baby on the way. So then Zach starts telling her that the timeline doesn't add up, and he doesn't think it's his because they only had sex one time, and it was a month ago. And then Danny gonna say, well, if she's only a month pregnant, she wouldn't know yet. Yeah, she could still know if she went to the doctor, but whatever. I mean, we're not gonna get into semantics in medical school. I understand the point that she was making, and she was like, so then why in the world did you tell Karen if you weren't even sure that the baby was yours? Danny, you told Karen. Technically, you told Andy and Sabrina, and you knew good and damn well they was going to tell Karen. Whatever. So, over to the bar, Andy and Sabrina. Because thank you for reminding me that I called that woman all out her name the whole last episode. I think I was calling her Samantha. Her name is Sabrina. Sorry. So, they're coming out the club. Sabrina ends up telling Andy what happened over at her apartment with, with the little fake threesome and all that situation, Maurice and everything. And Maurice was drunk. And, she ends up getting into the whole situation with that or whatever. So, Andy tells her, like, look, it sounds to me like you really just need, she said, look, I think for right now, the best thing you can do is just let that whole situation go. If it's meant to be, y'all will find y'all way back to each other. But right now, y'all just need to let it go. And you know what? I agree 100% because, again, I'm just over that whole situation. Okay? Okay. So, what happened next? This is going to be a quick review, y'all, because, again, I'm not dwelling all this out. So, What's-Her-Face ended up coming back. The preacher man ended up coming back to the apartment. He said he saw Zach leaving. He offers to clean up. She's like, no, I just need you to leave. And then we get to the crux of it. He was like, I don't want to go home. I can't face my kids. I don't want to face my house. Like, I just can't go home. Which is the crux of the situation. And she tells him, like, look, I'm going to need you to do that. Like, I need you to go handle that. I get it, but I can't be what it is that you need from me, And so he agrees to leave. And again, he offered to send a cleaning crew. He offered to help her clean her apartment. And she's like, look, it's fine. He said, well, you can't stay here tonight. It's too much glass. It's too much this. And I'm thinking to myself, why the hell she can't stay? Like, they ain't tear her apartment up that bad. Like, okay, the man knocked over the TV and it was a little bit of, it wasn't that bad. But she said she's going to go stay at a friend's house anyway. And of course, we know she's going to go stay over Andy's. I really like that top Andy had on in this episode. Anyway, from the club. That's a real cute top. Anyway, Andy comes home. Karen tells Andy what happened, the whole situation. She's like, can I stay here tonight? Of course, Andy's like, girl, you can. She said, I've been texting you. She said, I ain't been checking my phone because I don't want to see if old boy been calling. She was like, I understand, And so they, they had their little girl talk, banter talk. She ends up spending the night. The next morning she wakes up and she was like, we need to go on and check our phone. We need to go on and go to work and face what we need to face. And they sort of give each other pep talk. They check their phone. Oh, Gary has not called Andy, but it was an Aaron, Andrew, whoever the preacher man is. He didn't call Karen, but Zach hasn't called. So, they like, okay, we gotta get our lives together, honey. We gotta put our big girl panties on and we gotta go out here and face the day. Karen's gonna have to go down to the shop and deal with all of that's down there at the shop. Andy's gonna have to go to work and deal with potentially whatever she whatever she has going on over at work. And child, down to the airport. Look, that has got to be the most dysfunctional airline I have ever seen. Zach gonna roll up on old girl and tell me something. I need to talk to you, and she immediately gets out of line to talk to him. And then he basically starts talking to her about the baby or not the baby. And she was like, what you trying to say? Are you calling me a liar? He was like, all I'm saying is we had sex one time. And she tried to say they had sex more than once. And he was like, she tried to say they had sex more than time. He cut her off like, no. We might have done some other things, but the only time we went all the way was this one time, and that was only a month ago. Your timeline ain't adding up. She was like, look, I went to the doctor. He was like, well, I need some paperwork. She was like, we're not in school. I don't get a doctor's note. Like, I went to the doctor. I'm pregnant. Like, it is what it is. And he was like, I think you only told me you were pregnant to try to break me and Karen up. And she was like, I just want you to be with us and help me raise our family. I was like, yep, she crazy. Yep. Mm-hmm. And she probably is lying. Like, that right there made me think, I want us to raise our family together. Y'all weren't together. So then he pulls out a home pregnancy test, honey, and tells her, well, let's come on. If you so confident that you pregnant, we going in the bathroom now, take the test. And she got he was like, nah, ain't no hemming and hawing. We going now. Now, mind you, she has, again, stepped away from her desk. There are people in line waiting to get checked in for their flight. And she off getting ready to take a home pregnancy test, but whatever. And then they end up going off to go take the home pregnancy test, child. Down to the bank, which again, the bank is about as dysfunctional as this airport because Maurice comes walking in, sunglasses on, looking all of the hungover that he is, and he was like, you mad at me, to Sabrina, and she was like, no, I'm not mad. He was like, you are. And he did apologize. He was trying to be his normal flippant jokester self at first. And Sabrina got upset and ended up going to her office. And he followed her into the office. And he said, look, I am sorry. Like, I really am. Like, I love you. And I honestly am sorry. He said, but you had questions. And you really, truly needed to know. And she said, I should have just asked him. He said, but you did ask him. You weren't satisfied with the answer. She said, I should have just trusted him. I should have just believed him. And he was like, look, you have to do what you feel comfortable with. But why don't you call him? And she was like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. He was like, can you call him? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And so, but they have a moment, and he does sincerely apologize. Like I said, I feel like at first he was going to do that whole flippant thing, but he was sincere. And he told her, look, at the end of the day, if you do call him and you do choose, you have to accept all that comes with him. You're gonna have to accept who he is, and if you can't accept who he is, then yeah, you're right, don't call. Let it go. Leave it alone. The other thing that made me feel, I forgot about this part. The other thing that made me, again, feel a little uncomfortable about the whole Danny Zach thing was the next morning when she woke him up. Of course, he woke up with the morning wood, and she's looking, and then she said something about going to go to the bathroom before I have to take care of that. See, That's your girls, man. Those types of jokes, I just don't think are cute. Then she rubbing her booty all up on him. I just think it's inappropriate. Anyway, just throwing that out there, honey. Just throwing that out there. So, then Karen, she's working. The white guy comes up and gets in her line. He introduces himself. He's one of one of Calvin's fathers. He's like, can we talk? And she was like, okay. So they end up going to her office, and he basically proceeds to tell her Calvin's story. Explains that Calvin's mom was a friend of theirs. She had cancer. She knew she was dying. She asked him and his husband to adopt Calvin because she knew her family wouldn't be able to handle it. His father was, not in his life. Family members in and out of jail. Just not a stable environment. Begged them to adopt Calvin. He said that Calvin had always been bullied, that Calvin had always been, mistreated, that they had to change schools often, and it got to the point where they just didn't come up to the school because not only were they gay, they were white, and it just always caused a problem for him. He said Calvin has always had issues with women accepting him for who he is, and he said part of that is our fault because we encouraged him to, just be who he is and be open to who he is and not have to buy into any type of stereotypes or any type of norms of what society limits that puts on him. He said, but let me be clear with you. My son is not gay. Like, if he was gay, he would have told us because clearly we're in a safe environment where he wouldn't have to worry about telling us. He said, I encouraged him to talk to you because he really liked you. He had been telling me about you. And when you agreed to go out with him and y'all had your first little date and everything, I was thinking, wow, my son has finally found a woman that's going to accept him. And he said, look, he doesn't know I'm here, and I wouldn't be here if my son didn't come home crying last night, really upset over the situation with you. He really likes you. He said, if you really want a good man that's going to treat you right, that's who my son is. Okay, so let me say this. It was a great story. It really was. It was. It was a sad story, and I felt bad for Calvin, all of that. But for me, it was like 2 weeks too late. Like, had that conversation happened after that first date where she first found out that he was raised by a gay couple and she first had concerns about his sexuality or whatever, I'm all for it. And I'd be like, wow, that's great. That should be enough for Sabrina, right? But fast forward after we done had 3, 4, 5, 6 of these same conversations, the same situations. We had the underwear, we had the dildo, we had the that story does not move me at this point from the point of view of Sabrina. Sabrina she just can't accept, and I don't understand what they have that is so deep that they keep going back and forth. Like, again, let it go. That would have moved me, and I would have probably felt differently had that happened after their first date. But we have gone through so much with the two of them and this whole situation with his sexuality. I can't do it anymore. I cannot. Anyway. So who knows? Who knows what? I don't know where. Child. Anyway. Last but not least, honey, Andy finally goes to work. She walks in. Her assistant is like, let me stop you right here. She said, I just want to apologize. Andy was like, apologize for what? She said, the partners have been huddling all day. And she said, oh, okay, why they huddling? Like, what's going on? She said, I don't know, but it's been, And it's like, she knows more than what she's saying, but I guess she is only saying what she feel comfortable saying. And she said, look, I think you just need to get to the conference room. And Andy was like, oh, okay. Now, Andy, why you acting like you don't have a whole situation hanging over your head and you don't have a whole disgruntled wife threatening to take your law license and a whole boyfriend why are you acting like you don't know what could possibly be wrong. Like your life is like everything is roses in your life, and you don't have no reason to feel a little nervous about the situation. She acted like she ain't got a care in the world. Child, honey, she hit that corner. And who's in the conference room? The black lawyer that she had met at the club the night before, the guy that was like, call me if you want a job. Him, Gary, and the wife. And all three of them are looking at him. The lawyer and the wife are looking at them like they the cat that swallowed the canary. And Gary is sitting there looking like, I'm sorry. Child, that's where it ended. I don't know what's about to happen to Andy, but it don't look good, boo. It don't look good for you, Andy. It don't look good. Anyway, let me know what y'all think, y'all. Drop it in. I said this wasn't going to be a long review. Here we go, 20 minutes. Let me know what you think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.